Here's your news for June 10th, 2020. And your headlines for today include Brock Lesnar's SummerSlam plans revealed, Vince McMahon upset at WWE superstar's recent social media activity, Vince McMahon came out to personally produce an angle during WWE television taping, Chris Jericho wants AEW to work with Martha Hart to honor Owen Hart, WWE wrestler clashed with an official several times backstage, WWE is still recording footage for Undertaker The Last Ride Docuseries, former WWE Tag Team Teases move to Impact Wrestling, and more. Guys, stay tuned for some really crazy stories about Vince McMahon today. We are kicking off today with news from Brock Lesnar, as whilst rumors persist that the Beast will be back in time for SummerSlam, we don't know who he'll face. Although the popular rumor was that Lesnar would face Bobby Lashley, according to Ringside News, that won't be the case, as they reported that there's no talks of Lesnar facing the Almighty at all. Given that Lashley has a WWE title match this Sunday and Paul Heyman reportedly wants MVP to manage a world champion soon, it certainly seems possible that Lashley could be the top dog on Raw soon. But it looks like WWE have other plans for Brock and Bobby at the biggest party of the summer. Of course, there is always the chance that McMahon changes his mind, though the plans for Lesnar are usually solid. Since returning to WWE, Lashley has made it clear that he hopes to face Lesnar one day, and though it may be a matter of time before he holds the WWE Championship, don't expect the Almighty to face the Beast this summer. Now, we all know that WWE superstars use social media, and sometimes it's to stir up some controversy online, much to the dismay of the chairman of the board. Recently, Randy Orton and Tommaso Ciampa teased each other on Twitter, though a match between them isn't in the works. And during Wrestling Observer Live, Brian Alvarez noted that Vince McMahon isn't happy with superstars sending those kind of tweets. He said, "Vince hates it when guys or women or whatever do something that teases a match that he's not gonna do. But if he starts booking something that doesn't pay off, it's totally fine. There's a different set of rules." We can kinda see the chairman's point, as fans are now wanting the Ciampa-Orton feud that the company has no plans for, and whilst Dave Meltzer has said that they are now working on an angle, the feud is reportedly real. Whatever the case, it's obvious that the boss clearly doesn't want any matches promoted that he simply can't deliver. Two people McMahon won't be booking anymore is FTR, who will make their AEW in-ring debut tonight, and the former Revival spoke to Jim Cornette about their final days in WWE. On Cornette's podcast, Dax Harwood explained their last meeting with Vince McMahon, where they said they knew they weren't his cup of tea. He added, "He laughed at it and tried to shrug it off, but we told him, we know we're not your cup of tea, Vince, and that's okay. We're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. We're not going to please everybody, and we're not here to please everybody, but what we do know is that there's nobody better than us. We're going to work harder than anybody in the company." Odds are that Tony Khan won't be shrugging off anything that Harwood or Cash Wheeler have to say to him, and given that Vince even pitched for the notoriously serious superstars to dress as clowns, it's clear that the two sides had much different ideas about what they wanted out of their relationship. We've got more news from the boss next, as it's no secret that Vince McMahon knows exactly what he wants, but it turns out that the boss was very hands-on with the latest taping of Friday Night SmackDown. According to Ringside News, one segment featuring Jeff Hardy and Sheamus that was taped this week took so long that McMahon himself came out to personally produce the segment. It's been noted that there weren't any problems per se with the segment, it was just that it took a very long time to put together. We'll have to wait until this Friday to see what the segment that needed the boss to get involved was, and hopefully the Celtic Warrior and the charismatic Enigma won't take so long when they face off this Sunday at Backlash. Now, we all know that John Cena is a charitable person, and this week, the 16-time world champion dug deep into his pockets for the Black Lives Matter movement. Online, Cena revealed that he'll be donating $1 million to the movement in favor of racial equality, which matches what K-pop band BTS and Big Hit Entertainment donated, as well as the money raised from over 35,000 members of the BTS army. With a combined $3 million raised with just this group and countless more raised by others, hopefully some positive change will come to the world during these strange times. We've got news from AEW next, and there's been a lot of talk lately about Owen Hart following Vice's Dark Side of the Ring episode. And even though AEW was founded long after Owen's tragic death, that won't stop the company from paying homage to him. While speaking with Sportskeeda, Chris Jericho expressed a desire for the company to work with Owen's widow Martha, and said that he feels the spirit of the two-time Slammy Award winner lives on in AEW. He added, "I'm a huge disciple of him. I'm very much influenced by Owen Hart. So I think that, whether it's New Japan or AEW, I think it's important for Owen to be remembered by his fans and by the people that he influenced, myself included." Martha working with AEW is far more likely than her working with WWE, as she blames the company for being responsible for her husband's death, and Vice's episode highlights some of the mistakes the WWE could have avoided. If Owen were still around today, it's possible that he could be working in AEW as a wrestler or a backstage hand, and time will tell whether Martha allows her husband's name to be used in the popular promotion. Back to WWE now, and Vince McMahon is a very busy man, so if you happen to catch a glimpse of him, he probably won't have time for you. During the Arn Show, WWE Hall of Famer Arn Anderson explained that Vince lives and works in his own bubble, and explained why you never see Vince sign autographs or take selfies. He said, "I'm pretty sure that's never happened and never will happen. He functions in his own bubble." The legendary Four Horsemen went on to explain what Vince's day is roughly like, saying that the boss gets up very early in the morning for a workout before his limo takes him to the airport. From there, it's a series of flights and limos for the boss before he makes it to WWE headquarters, where he'll spend most of the afternoon in a meeting, and this only gets busier. As Arn explained, he'll go straight to Gorilla when it's time. When the show's over, straight to another limo, straight to the private plane to the next town, straight to the hotel that they're staying at, company hotel, then at 3 or 4 in the morning, he'll go to the gym again. Repeat. That's pretty much the day in the life of Vince McMahon. With such a hectic schedule, it's not hard to see why Vince doesn't have time to stop and talk with fans on the street. It sure seems like an exhausting time for the boss, but that's just what it takes to run a sports entertainment juggernaut like WWE. One person who isn't too busy right now is Sami Zayn, who is currently off TV due to the ongoing global situation, but that isn't the only issue for the former Intercontinental Champion. It's been previously reported that Zayn has had issues backstage, even with those trying to help him, and on his podcast, Arn Anderson explained that he too had issues with the SmackDown superstar, saying, "Sami's a little too headstrong. Sami believes in himself, but he also believes in his ideas. Maybe it's because I clashed with Sami. Sami and I clashed quite a few times over what he perceived to be small things." Arn went on to talk about how things used to be when he competed, and how he'd have to change matches moments before they started if an agent told him the timings had changed, before comparing his situation to Sami's. He added, "I just don't think Sami's going to be patient enough or creative enough to be able to come up with a story that is completely different than the one you've been talking about all day." We'll have to wait and see what happens with Zayn when he returns, as although he may be incredibly talented in the ring, he might have to work on how he handles himself backstage. Back to WWE now, and the company recently received some bad press after reports of how the NXT superstars who have acted as a crowd have been treated, and it looks like things are improving. After reports that the Gold Brand stars had to stand in place for hours during recent tapings without chairs, it's now being reported that the company only made them stand during the last set of tapings when they were needed. Whilst some noted that the treatment of superstars was better, the company could still improve, as one source for Ringside News said that the roster felt like animals in the background of a movie scene as they were herded around all day. Both Vince McMahon and WWE fans are eagerly waiting for the day when a real crowd can see live event action once again, and those NXT superstars probably feel the same way, albeit for different reasons. Speaking of NXT, it's been rumored for quite some time that Dominik Dijakovic will be the next person called up to the main roster, and now the superstar has added fuel to the rumor fire online. After teasing on social media last week that he had his sights set on Apollo Crews' United States title, Dijakovic took to Twitter this week to share a photo of Seth Rollins without a caption. There's been speculation that when Dijakovic does get called up, it will be to be the next disciple of the Monday Night Messiah, and whilst his tweet seems to show that Dijakovic has an interest in Rollins, it could always be that he's just messing with the WWE Universe. As of right now, there's no word on when Dijakovic will join the Raw roster, and Rollins hasn't responded to the tweet yet, but it certainly looks like the two may be crossing paths in the not-too-distant future. From a fresh face in WWE to a true icon in the industry, as The Undertaker has revealed to CBS Sports that the WWE hasn't finished filming the Last Ride docuseries. Speaking about the rumors of his retirement coming soon, the former world champion explained what he wanted from his last hurrah, saying, "I just want to be at that level so people can say, 'Why on earth are you retiring? Why are you retiring when there's so much left in the tank?'" Adding that he feels that this sort of match is still in him, the dead man went on to say that the documentary has changed his perspective on things, and he has envisioned the exit to his career, and now he's just trying to find it. Fans can watch the Last Ride docuseries on the WWE Network, and given that the company is still getting footage, it seems the Undertaker story isn't over just yet. Now, last week, the wrestling world celebrated 10 years since the Nexus's debut, and former leader Wade Barrett had plenty to say about his group. Speaking to Inside the Ropes, Barrett recalled being given his Nexus armband, but also orders from Vince McMahon, who told them to rip everything apart, including the ring, and attack everyone in sight, from security and refs to Justin Roberts. Barrett and his crew would go on to do just that and create a shocking moment in WWE history. And given that WWE still owns the Nexus name, you can never count out a reunion from the iconic group. One person who knows all about running a faction or two is Triple H, who worked with Ric Flair in Evolution, though things weren't always easy for the two friends. During WWE 24's episode on The Nature Boy, the game described the time that Flair was taking too long during his Hall of Fame induction speech, and Vince McMahon ordered the game to go on stage and tell Flair to hurry up. Describing it as the worst moment ever in his career, we certainly wouldn't have wanted to be the ones telling the living legend that he's going too slowly, but the cerebral assassin certainly rose to the occasion on that fateful night. And we're ending today with news from Impact Wrestling, as during the latest episode, Rhino teased reuniting with someone he's had history with. After Rohit Raju tried to goad the Man-Beast into a partnership, Rhino said he already has a partner and that he's got kids, a reference to Heath Slater, who teamed with Rhino in WWE. Given that Slater was recently released by WWE and that Impact have teased former superstars for their upcoming Slammiversary event, it's certainly possible that the inaugural SmackDown Tag Team Champions may be back together in the not-so-distant future.